Welcome back. In this video, we're going to learn how Elementor handles default colors, fonts, and text sizes, and set a few of our own for our website. I'm here in the WordPress dashboard, and to demonstrate how this works, we're going to create a new page. So let's go over to Pages. We can hover over that and click Add New, and it'll bring up the new page interface. So for the title, we'll just type Sample Page, and we'll go up here and save it as a draft. Now we'll click Edit with Elementor to open the Elementor editor. Since nobody will see this page, we'll leave the heading as it is, and we'll add a section here. We'll just do one column. And now in this section, we're going to add some text to demonstrate how default text works in Elementor. So let's click the icon up here, go back to our widgets, and let's add a heading. So inside this heading, let's change the title and just type H1. And then down here under the HTML tag, change that to H1 as well. You'll see the text get a little bit bigger. I'll explain that in a second. Let's go over here to the edit icon for that heading and hit duplicate to make another one. In this one, let's change it to H2, and the same with the HTML tag. We'll change that to H2 as well. Let's do one more. Duplicate that, change it to H3, and change the HTML tag to H3 as well. Now we'll add one more block here. Let's go up to the icon, and then add the text editor in. And this is filled with some standard boilerplate text. So now, if you don't know what all this means, it's not that hard to understand. These are different heading sizes that HTML, the markup language that web pages use, it uses these headings to show different sizes of fonts and texts. And we can actually set custom styles to each of these, which makes it a lot easier to design our website. So what we're going to do is actually set our own H1 style. We're going to leave H2 the same. We'll set a custom style for H3, and then we'll set a custom font style for kind of the body copy of our website. To do this in Elementor, we go up here to the hamburger icon, and let's go to Site Settings. Now it's important to mention that a lot of these settings can also be changed inside a theme. No matter what theme you use in WordPress, many of them come with the ability to customize different pieces of that theme, including the text and colors. But I found it easier to do this all inside Elementor, and it just makes it easier when we're building our site using the Elementor page builder. So the way Elementor works is it's kind of split up into two sections. So you'll see up here the design system. Now these are global settings that you can set that kind of help you remember things. So you could set a color, and then if you want to make something that color later, it's really easy to do. So we'll actually do that to get started as well. Let's click Global Colors. And here's the global colors pre-built in Elementor. Now, we'll leave those the same for now. You can change them if you'd like. This primary color is the color that links will be when you hover over them, or some buttons might be, something like that. So you can change these however you'd like, but we're going to add a custom color. So let's click Add Color, and let's just call this background color. And then we'll click the color picker here, and let's set this to that background color we used on the Coming Soon page. So that was # F5, F5, F5. Great. So now we'll have that to use later on, and it'll be really easy to access. So let's click Update to save that. And now let's go back. So for the global fonts, we won't actually set them in here, but in much the same way, you can set your own collection of different font styles or families that you might want to click on later to convert the default text to. We won't really be doing that in this site, so we'll go back here and we'll actually set a custom typography styles in this theme styles setting right here. So let's click on this, and now you can see kind of a repeating list of all the different options. And HTML actually goes from H1 all the way to H6. So we didn't put all those out here. We're just going to deal with H1, 2, and 3 for now, as well as our body text. So let's start with the body text, which is this boilerplate text down here. Now, we want to actually change that for our website. So to do that, let's click this edit icon next to typography. And this brings up an interface that lets us change virtually everything about that font and text family. So for our website, we're actually going to use a different font. If you click Family up here, you'll see an enormous list of all the Google fonts that are free to use for your website. And these are all really great fonts. We're actually going to pick one called Montserrat, so M-O-N-T, and here it is right here. So we'll set our body type to Montserrat, and when I click that, you'll see it change in the editor window. So right there, now that is Montserrat. And we'll leave it as is. We don't need to change anything else. We just want that to be the font we use on our website. So we'll click back out of here, and now we'll move down to our headings. So let's change the H1 heading. Let's change the size of it. So let's click this pencil again next to typography, and let's set what we want this to look like on our web page. So we know that on this web page, we want to use, for H1, we want to have a font size of 70. So that's pretty big, and you'll see where we use that later on in the project. But you see when I set that, it set the H1 that big. So now anywhere on our website where we use an H1, it will show that size. Now the great thing again about Elementor is that we can set a custom size for all different types of devices. So let's go ahead and click over here on desktop, and let's change this to tablet. Now on a tablet, it clears our entry and we can set a new font size for that. So let's go ahead and say that on a tablet, we want an H1 to only be 65 pixels. And let's say on a mobile device, we want it to be 55 pixels. Looks great. So now we can cycle back through there and see that it stays at what we set. So we've set our H1 to be responsive on different devices. Now the only other change we'll make right here is to H3. We'll actually go down there and change the typography there as well. Now this one, we'll also change the font. We'll change the font to Montserrat. We'll change the size to 16. We'll change the weight to 500, which is kind of a medium weight. We won't transform it, but here you'd be able to make it uppercase, lowercase, capitalize, or normal, but we'll leave this as a default. Under style, we'll actually make this italic, and we'll keep the rest the same. So now we've customized a couple of our headings and our body text. Now, once our website's built, if we came back here and changed this, it would change the text on the entire website. So a super powerful feature built into Elementor that allows us to try out different fonts and sizes and have them change universally across our site in a single click. So to save this, let's hit update, and now we're saved. And that's it. In the next video, we're going to learn how WordPress manages website navigation and menus and set up the navigation menu for our site. See you then. Welcome back. In the next couple videos, we're going to be talking about navigation and menus in WordPress and Elementor. So, as we all know, most websites have a header bar at the top of them. Probably has a logo and some links to different pages on the site, maybe a search bar or something like that. So we're going to create one of those in Elementor for our site. Most sites also have a footer down at the bottom. You've seen this with the logo and the copyright and maybe some other links as well. So actually, these two pieces of the website can be the most complicated to build, especially when you consider all the different devices. Like on a mobile device, the menu can disappear and you can see a little icon to click that'll expand the menu and things like that. So instead of starting in on something super complex like that, we're actually going to take this opportunity to look at another amazing feature of Elementor, which is the ability to import and export different sections or templates. So this makes it super easy to share parts of your site with other builders. There's an entire ecosystem of Elementor sections and templates and sites. There's a lot that come built in with the Flocks theme that we're using. You can explore that on their website. But this really opens up a lot of possibilities for building your site and kind of mix and match different pieces from different sites and then make it your own. So I've built the header and footer for our sample project already, and they're available in the downloads folder, the resources folder that's a part of this course. So let's go ahead and get started importing those. So to do that, we'll go over to templates here on the left. And up here at the top, you'll see a button that says import templates. So we'll click that, and then we can click choose file, and it'll bring up an option here for us. We're going to go into our documents, and this will be in the resources folder for you. And we'll find this file called move rest repeat header.json. Now this is a file that contains all of the code that Elementor needs to build the header. So we'll click on that, and we'll click open, and then we'll click import now. So it's importing that JSON template right now, and there it is. It's called primary header. It'll also be over here under the header tab as well if we click that. So now we've imported the template that I created earlier for this course, and now we can edit it with Elementor. So let's click this here. Great, now it looks pretty basic, but we'll get things customized and you'll see it come to life here in the next couple videos. So up here on the left, we can see that there's an image placeholder, but there's no image attached. So we'll have to link an image to that. Now I built this with the same logo image that we've already uploaded, so it'll be easy to add. Let's click on that. And then over here under choose image, we'll click and open up our media library. We already imported a logo for our coming soon page, so we'll use that one. We'll click that. We'll click insert media, and there's our logo. Now you'll see this home button over here. This is a default button that shows up, but in the next couple videos, we'll build out our menu and you'll see this become links to all of the pages on our site. So let's hit update to save that. Then we'll go up here and exit back to the dashboard. We'll go back to our templates, and now we'll import another template. So let's import that. Choose file again. In your resources folder, you'll see move rest repeat footer.json. So we'll click that and click open and click import now, and it'll import our footer. And it'll be over here under the footer tab as well. So let's do the same thing we did with the header. We'll click edit with Elementor. We can go in, we'll see the same type of thing here. We'll click this image, go over here, and add that same logo. Insert media, and we're done. We'll click update to save, and then head back here and go back to the dashboard. So now we've installed our header and footer templates. So in the next video, we're going to set those as the default settings for all new pages, and then create our new pages and our menu. See you then. Welcome back. Now that we have the header and footer imported and ready to go, we're going to create the pages for our site, and then we're going to link them to a menu and make sure that the header and footer navigation links to all those new pages. Before we do that, we're going to configure a few site-wide settings that are a part of our theme that will help us make sure that every page we create matches right out of the box. So if we come over here to the Flocks item, we'll hit Customization, and that'll take us into a menu where we can customize some site-wide settings. Like I said in a previous video, I like to keep most of these settings configured in Elementor, but most themes come with this type of menu as well, and you can configure settings in there. And there's a couple things in here that we can't configure anywhere else. So let's start by going to General and General Layout. And let's change the width of our page. 1600 pixels is a little wide, and I like some white space on either side. I also think most users are using screens that this will look better on. So let's change this to 1200 pixels. You'll see the width of the site narrow down a little bit in here, and I think that looks better. Now we'll go back to the main menu, and we'll go down to Header. And then we'll click on Header Templates, and we'll make sure that our header, primary header, is the one that's selected. Now sometimes the theme comes with a different header and it might be there, so if yours doesn't say primary header, just go down here and click primary header. That's the one we imported, so that it's the current header on all new pages. Let's go back out and go down to footer and do the same thing there. Footer templates, primary footer, make sure that that's the one we imported. And now we'll go back out one more time and we'll go to page. And here on the page settings, we're looking for the page title. We want to make sure that the theme isn't injecting the page title into each page, that we put it there if we want it, but otherwise we kind of have a blank slate when we create a new page. So let's turn this display title bar section off. And that's it. We'll hit Publish Now up at the top to save those settings, and then we'll close out of here and go back to the WordPress dashboard. Let's create our first page. We'll go to Pages, Add New, and let's call this About. Now, since we're working offline, or if you're online, you have the Coming Soon page up, we'll actually publish these pages as we go along, so they show up in the navigation. If you leave them on draft, they won't show up there, and since nobody will see them anyway while we're building, we'll just publish them. So to publish a page, we'll go up here to Publish, and then it'll want to confirm, and we'll click it again. And now we've created our About page. Let's click Edit with Elementor to take a look. And there we go. We've got our header and footer that we imported, as well as the beginning of a menu over here that we'll customize in just a bit. So now that we know that that works, let's close out of here, go back to our dashboard, and let's quickly create the other pages we need for our site. We'll click this WordPress icon to go back one more time, and here we are in our list of pages. So let's click Add New, and the next page on our site is kind of a services portfolio page, but we're going to call it What We Do. So we'll do that, we'll click Publish, and we'll click Publish again. And once we publish, here's the address of our page, and obviously this will update later on. But if we wanted to change that, we can close out here and we can go down to our permalink. And see how it says What We Do with dashes? Let's go ahead and take those out so that it just is /whatwedo. That's a little more standard naming convention. So now we can see our actual URL here. So let's go ahead and update that. Let's hit the WordPress icon to go back again, and let's make another page. We'll call this one Blog. Hit Publish again, and we'll create one more page, and we'll call it Contact. We'll hit Publish, and Publish again, and go back. So now we have the primary pages of our site. Actually, we forgot one, a very important one that we'll create later, the home page. But since it won't be in our menu, we won't create it right now. So to actually put these together into a menu, let's go to Appearance, Menus, and let's create a new menu here. So we'll just call this one Main Navigation. And let's create this menu. And now to add items to a menu, you can look over here. We can search, view all of our pages, or just the most recent. Since we just made these are the most recent. We'll select those. We'll click Add to Menu. And here's our menu. Now we want to rearrange these, so to do that, we'll just drag and drop. If you wanted sub-menus, you can drag to the right, and that will place this item under the item above it. But we'll keep it like this. We'll arrange it about first, then we'll put the What We Do page, then our blog page, and then our contact page. Now we'll save this menu. And now let's go back to our pages. We can click Leave Site here. For some reason it shows up even though we clicked Save. And let's take a look at our About page. So let's click Edit with Elementor. And there you go. Now we can see our menu that we created up in the header on each and every page. And that's it. Now that we've got our header and footer figured out, we have our navigation built. In the next section, we're going to jump in and start building the first page of our website. See you then.